I said like a YouTube 2, YouTube 3, YouTube 4, YouTube 5, YouTube 6, YouTube 7, YouTube 8, YouTube 9, YouTube 10.com by Google, by whoever bought YouTube, which I think is Google. The YouTube app on the app, it's just for mixes or for your favorite song, and then it keeps talking about music, but it says nothing new about. It doesn't talk about Flash Player. It doesn't talk about doing like a thing where it wouldn't take memory, and they're not trying to update things and add-ons, slow it down. So basically, we should uninstall, then install the new update. But I turn it on, or because I'll say how. I got a Ethernet, man. So if you're trying to affect me, hurt me, mainly, or hurt me, or affect me, then you're being a Nazi. And when I'm talking about Phil, Ultimate Win, Nazi, whatever, or or Yahtzee, Nazi, well, how would that be different? Whatever. It was supposed to be a party that they said that, yeah, Workers' Party or Socialist Party or if you're, they meant that one word within, they meant that to be a party, no? What I don't get about this one parody is they said this one guy was just played by Gonsler, or this one guy was had for democratic reforms. But then there's this parody, and a pencil down on Obama by that one dude, or by a dude, or from that by that one dude. That ain't a parody. He ain't a social. Was there any? He's been Craddock socials. It's like Craddock. No, he's Craddock. Correct it. Yeah, he ain't a communist. He ain't a communist. So he ain't a communist. He ain't a Marxist. He ain't a Marxist. He ain't a fascist. It ain't just one guy's fault. People say people say or that administration. Then they say Obama. And some people might say Obama. They might say Bush, Will Clinton, whatever. It's more than just one person. And this one place, like from Illinois, Texas, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Illinois, or Michigan, or Texas, that shouldn't have anything to do with Colorado. Colorado needs to be more independent. Why is the mortgage company in Illinois? I want to see Illinois. Leave me alone. I want to see Texas. I want to see Michigan. Or I want to see that company in Illinois. Or that place. I want to see that place in a place in Illinois. I want to see a place in Texas. I want to see a place in Michigan. You could curse my horse. How I'm speaking, just let's say in general, that's American English. That's English. My vocal cords and how I speak, it's like, let's just say if I'm trying to say blah, 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 blah. I'm an American, so it's almost like trying to say English. You're trying to say it. I don't want to be that way. I'm just saying, like, we don't have to always pronounce our words, because we're trying to make it sound like a word, then it is the word. Then it is that word. Because we're sounding like an English accent, American English accent, accent. So, I wish you one more. Oh, wish you one more. One more. Wish you one more. If something happened to McKinnon, or if any business, my world will end, and he almost here, I said that to them. If you say screw someone, that doesn't mean they should screw you. That doesn't mean you should be screwed. So. Then why couldn't I just have a woman throughout most of my life, and then like, if they knew me, like, if they would have known, like, then, you know, like, I wouldn't have had to take it, or I wouldn't have, or maybe they would have, one of them would have, you know, talked to me later, or, and I've tried all those apps and everything like that. If my canine was to be here, and then in a dream, my dad was to mock me and say, "I'll get you a new canine." Truly, times consider whatever times two or whatever. Truly, he said, "I'll get you another Dawg." A Dawg. Dawg. I said something online that I had a dream that my dog did. Well, you think maybe somebody would be praying for me, or maybe it'd work, and or maybe since I'm saying this, then maybe that'll be Dieter, and like, how could it not be Dieter? You ain't being a Nazi. Then you didn't do it out of love. Why wouldn't you? If you didn't do it out of love, then I don't see how anybody would want to help anybody. What's the point of being helped temporarily, or for a short, what I feel was a short amount of time? And then if something was taken away from me, I don't have to be proved anything, even if it was, you know. I'm not dwelling on. I wasn't ever dwelling on whatever. Every generation. Rejuvenation, rehabilitation, whatever. I wasn't dwelling on those words. Whatever. Ain't ever. I mentioned it, but I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about it. I don't have to be proven anything. But if that, I would want to see that as mandatory thing, because nobody has a right. Nobody has a right to try to hurt your temple or some living thing's temple of an organism. That should have been outlawed a long time ago. There shouldn't have been honey. There shouldn't have been poetry. And like this one, the horns of a rat, they don't do anything. We've already proved that it does nothing. So those guys, even if they're an atheist or whatever, they've broken commandments, and we should look at that, because those were like laws, and we have laws, and like, especially, I'd say now if you do adultery out of love, and like, if I didn't, and like, if it's out of love, if it's out of love, and then, well, you didn't do that, you know, it's like, or that's not adultery, you know. If it's both out of love, then, if there's no love, then you did, but if there's love, then, if you say I love you to somebody, or I really like you, love you, you know, it's like, yeah, then that ain't adultery. But it says thou shalt not kill, or murder, and they're murdering these animals. It's just, some people think about like moral conscience, and if they had a moral conscience, or if they did think about it, then they wouldn't do that. And then like if they ever see like something of a punishment, then they would regret it usually. I would say if they were mutants, or whatever, something like that, like characters like turtles or something like that from the first series, whatever. There would have to be some like peoples, so I don't, certain number of peoples on an alternate dimension, and certain mutants, peoples, mutants, peoples, peoples, for certain, if certain hunter, if they avoid punishment, then later, like, because I always said, well, it's not like, yeah, not the cats, but not those type of ones, not those ones, but like other animals. I was like, other ones, but not those ones, but other ones. Yeah, the other ones, and well, they ain't hunting you, I guess. So I would sort of would say, well, maybe, it if they could fight back, then or then they would just be defending themselves, but or fighting back or whatever. But they ain't doing that because they don't fight back and they ain't mutants. So, and like, yeah, like you've seen certain ones and it looks like, somebody might say, yeah, it was a perfect shot. I'm like, I'm one of those people. I can't comprehend. I don't agree with it. It doesn't impress me. But yeah, if someone said that, I'd be like, well, I just don't feel. I don't feel it. I don't get no. There ain't no. I don't know. Yeah.